Hello?
Hi, is this the Geck?
Yes. This is
Oh
Carly.
yeah, sorry. I don't know why I asked that. I'm so sorry.
Why are you sorry? Why are
How's
you
it going?
apologizing so much?
I don't know. I'm just really anxious, I guess.
What are you anxious about?
I'm trying to figure out whether or not I should go on this date with this guy.
Who is he?
He's just, I don't know, some random guy I met off the internet.
Some random guy you met off the internet.
Well,
What?
he goes
I
to
mean,
my school and
Oh, he
like
goes to your
my
school.
university. Yeah, and he's like
Okay.
kind of like a big, not a big deal, but like a medium deal here.
He's a medium deal here. What is that? What does that even mean? What is he a medium deal?
Like he plays a
Because of-
sport that like gets him like not like I don't know. He plays a sport and he has like a lot of like attention for the sport that he plays.
Oh, interesting. What is he, a football player?
I don't know. He might listen to this. I don't know if I should say.
Okay, so he's a football player. Well, okay. Let me ask you this: you're asking whether or not you should be going on this date with this guy you met on the internet.
Yeah.
Now, something about him.
Yeah.
Something about him. Maybe it's if that thing is just you thought he was cute. Whatever that thing is, something about him made you say yes in the first place, or possibly something about you made you say yes in the first place. But something made you say yes. What was that thing?
He was funny.
He was funny. Okay.
Like he likes my puns, but I
liked your
make really
puns.
bad puns.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you had you had a creeping idea that this guy might get you and your vibes, which is, important to people.
I mean, I think that he likes me as I am now, but like who I was last year and like, basically most of my life is someone that he probably wouldn't give, a second glance at. Like I used to be extremely like overweight and I've lost a lot of weight in, the last couple of years. And it's just been, really hard adjusting to this new body. Like when I was like overweight, I was so confident. And now that I'm like, skinny, everyone's like, you look great. And I just feel terrible and miserable.
Really? You feel less confident after you lost weight?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean,
are you
'cause when you're
are you
big-
comfortable into going into why you feel that way?
Yeah, I mean, because, I grew up, like, I was, like, kind of, like, bullied, which is lame. But when I was big, and it's just, like, I kind of knew everything that was going to come after me. Like, what a kid's going to say, like, oh, you're fat. And it's, like, I, already knew it was coming, so it never really, like, stung that much, I was put in fat camp. And it's just, like, that's how I lived my whole entire life, was, like, overcoming all of the stuff that comes with being fat. And I just, took the pandemic and I was like, I'm just going to lose the weight for me. And I did, but now I don't feel like me anymore. Like, I just feel like, I look in the mirror and I'm just like, I just feel like uncomfortable. I don't feel beautiful like I did when I was like, overweight, I guess. Like, I felt like that was more like the real me. I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. What was I going to say? So, because what I was going to ask you when you said to me just now, I think this guy likes me as I am now, but he wouldn't have liked who I was before. What I was going to ask you was, do you like who you are now? And you appear to be telling me that you don't.
I just don't know this person,
Okay.
Like this body. Like, I don't know who this person is. Like, I just,
Well, can I ask
like
you?
Fat Freddy was always the funny girl.
Can I ask you why you initially made the decision to lose weight?
I mean, it was just like the pandemic. Like, I didn't really have, I don't know. I just, wanted to do something, I guess. Like, I don't know. I mean, part of me was just like, maybe if I come out this pandemic skinny, like I would feel better, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously not.
Can I ask, what sorts of like lifestyle changes or methods you took on to lose the weight?
So like I was like working out, like, well, I work out twice a day.
Okay.
Like radically like changed my diet, like non-processed food, no sugars. Just like all the stuff that makes you happy is not allowed in my
Sure.
pantry or my house. Sort of like deal.
And so I mean, regardless of like how you feel in your quote new body, those lifestyle changes, like the decision to work out more, the decision to cut certain stuff out of your diet, have those choices in and of themselves made you feel better, or have they made you feel worse?
I mean, at first it was just like better. Like I felt like lighter, happier at first.
Mm-hmm.
And then like we came out of the pandemic and then we were dealing with people and it's just like everyone's like, wow, I haven't seen you in so long. You look so beautiful. You look so great. And it's just like what was I before, you know?
Sure.
Like, I mean, I've always been great, right? Like that should be, you know, it shouldn't matter to you what I look like. I mean, I think I'm a good person and I feel like that's what makes me great sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Have you spoken to, do you have a real therapist?
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking about, I had one before when I was like, you know, coming out of fat camp, but I'm thinking about like getting another one, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But as of right now, like, I don't feel like I might just, you know, not go on this date and just sort of like ghost him. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like that's
because here's what I was gonna say about the date and about this guy and all that stuff is that like, you know, well, I don't know what you like want. Well, can I ask you something? What do you want, like this date? Like, ideally, what do you like want out of it? Like are you trying to hook up with this guy? Are you like thinking, you know, you want to like get into like a relationship, or you're just going to like have fun for a night, just getting to know a new person? Like what's the ideal, what would be your ideal outcome from this? Just having fun meeting
like
a new person?
Sort of, yeah.
Sure. Okay. I think I think if you're just, you know, trying to have fun and meet a new person just for the sake of having fun and meeting a new person, I don't think it's a terrible idea to go on the date. But also, I mean, that said, like, you know, if you're experiencing a lot of anxiety about it, and it would just like relieve all of that anxiety to not go, that's fine too. There's nothing wrong with that. Because
should I tell him, like the reason why?
I mean, look, you don't have to tell him anything you're not comfortable telling him. I don't think in dating, you know, people really owe each other that much or whatever. But yeah, I mean, you know, you can just tell him you're not feeling good, and you know, that's really it.
Okay. Thanks, Geck. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. You know, because it sounds like, and here's another thing. And it doesn't sound like this is what you're doing, but where like a lot of people, they'll like go on dates to like, you know, because they feel like something's missing, so they gotta find that like in another person or whatever. But it kind of sounds like you've got, you know, some legitimate issues, you know, going on, you know, with your own feelings about yourself that would probably benefit you to focus on before, like, you know, trying to bring another person into the mix.
Yeah.
Another variable, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Go see a real therapist. I'm very curious what they would say. And it sounds like you have things that would be helpful to talk through with someone who knows what they're talking about.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Can I ask you a question before I get off real quick?
What's up?
Did you fart into the mic?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. What was that like?
It's liberating, I think, to just fart into the mic. I mean, the idea of it appealed to me.
Interesting. Did it feel like it was just like in your face? Like, did you regret it?
No, I didn't regret it at all.
If you put that on a sock, I would buy it.
If I put that on a sock, like me farting onto the microphone?
Yes.
Okay, I'll consider doing that.
All right, thank you so much.
Anytime. Have a good night.
You too, Geck.
Hello?
Lyle.
Is this Simba?
I'm here, Lyle. How are you?
How are you, Simba?
I'm good. Sorry, I watch a lot of Disney. I have a 1-year-old, so...
You have a 1-year-old. Are you enjoying being a father?
Yeah, she's the light of my life, and yeah, it's tough though having a 1-year-old girl, but trying to set a good example for her.
And what sorts of things do you do to set a good example for
her? Just trying to be a good parent, trying to be there for her when she needs me, and trying to, just shield her from the harsh realities of this world. Sorry.
Why do you feel as though the reality of the world is so harsh?
Well, there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot of good to be found in this world, and her mother does a really good job too. And I just feel like it's kind of a tough time right now. She was a COVID baby, so it's funny. You just never really realize those things until you become a father.
And has she been? Have you been changing her diapers a lot? Has she ever shat on your face or anything like that?
Oh yeah, she shits all over the place, and she shits on my hand, and but that's okay. But no, and I think her mother wants to have one more too. So wish me luck.
Oh, so you want to have another? Well, it says here that you believe that your wife is getting bored of you.
Yeah, definitely.
Is that something she told you?
Yeah, like right to my face, and it was funny because like she'll like say to me that like she needs someone with big dick energy, and I was like, huh. At first, I thought that was kind of hurtful, but I kind of see what she means. Like she wants someone who's confident and relaxed, and that's kind of like the opposite of what I am. And if I don't do something soon, she's probably gonna try and go and find a boyfriend or some shit. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, it's a lot.
So she told you that she is looking for somebody with big dick energy.
Yeah, like yeah. And I feel like we kind of get on the wrong foot sometimes, but she's a witch too. She's a bruja, and I see her like casting spells and shit. So I take what she says very seriously.
Do you believe that she has cast a spell upon you?
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. She wants me to just really kind of grow a pair and get my fire and my drive back, because it's really low right now, and hers is like really high. And I just feel like she's getting kind of bored with me, So,
what kind of spell do you believe she has cast upon you?
It's funny. I actually think they're good spells. Like she brings me a lot of luck too, and she gives me a lot of good energy, which is why I'm worried. That we'll make her unhappy. So, and she does want me to kind of go to therapy too, but I guess that's another story.
So she's told you that she is bored of you, but how do you feel about her? Oh,
I think she's the best thing to ever happen to me. I feel like, you know, I was really lucky to find her, and I feel like she's helped me realize a lot of things too. Like there are a lot of things that are wrong with me, but I feel like I don't maybe do the same for her, if you know what I mean. So,
what has she helped you realize is wrong with you?
well, she kind of made me like take a look at like the way I act, you know, and she also made me realize that maybe my relationship with my mom isn't really the healthiest as well. But it's been kind of nice because I didn't really realize that until I was older, and like I'm 28 and I'm almost 30, so it's kind of weird like having to kind of realize those things late in life, you know.
So you like her because, well, you said you think she's the best thing that's ever happened to you, and you are saying that because she's helped you realize certain things that are amiss with you. I mean, what else do you find redeeming and attractive, and you know, anything else about this person that you feel makes them a positive thing to have in your life?
Well, she's really good with kids. That's the first thing. Like, I didn't know anything about having kids, and so she's been able to kind of show me how to set a good example for her daughter, and she's also been just a really good friend to kind of bounce things off of, and she helps me like find a stable job too. I was having trouble finding work there. She's kind of been coaching me a little bit.
And how did it feel when she told you what she told you?
It felt really good. I was really lucky to find her, but it made me realize that I still have a long way to go, you know. So that's
when she told you that she's looking for someone with big dick energy, and that if you don't grow up hair, she will leave you.
It made me feel.
How did that make you feel?
Well, I just feel. It didn't make me feel good. I feel like, I feel like she wants someone who has like some swag, maybe, and I'm kind of boring, you know. Like I'm kind of quiet, and I feel like she's kind of looking for someone who can kind of command a room a little bit, you know. So didn't make me feel too good, but hopefully, since we're married, I can kind of turn that around a little bit.
What do you want from her? Do you want her to change anything about herself?
That's a good question. I feel like maybe she could just have a little more patience with me. You know, I know that I suffer from some social anxiety a little bit, and I have for a while. So I feel like, I want her to just show me a little patience, and I think we can get there.
Have you told her that?
I'm sorry, you kind of cut out there.
Have you told her that?
Oh yeah, for sure, many times.
And does she seem like she's internalized and made a further effort toward being more patient with you?
Yeah, because I feel like, you know, she likes to kind of be romanced a little bit, and I'm not very good at romancing. You know, she likes to kind of be just reminded that she's loved, and she likes to kind of be taken out on dates and stuff like that. So, but it's hard because, you know, you come home, you work all day, and yeah.
Okay, here's what I do want to say to you, Simba. Here's what I want to say to you, Simba. Simba, I think if you're trying to build a family here, you're trying to build a life, build a long-lasting relationship, kids, and all that, I think you should be married to someone who loves you for who you are, who believes that you are enough, but also is continuously encouraging you, challenging you to be better in ways in which you yourself also desire to be better. I don't like that your wife is telling you, you know, you better man up right now or else I'm out of here. Again, I don't want to pry too deep or make too many assumptions because I don't really feel like I can grasp the full scope of your relationship over the course of 10 minutes. I'm not going to pretend like I can. But I will just say that I think you should be with someone who accepts you for who you are while still simultaneously challenging you. And I think that you should also be checking in with yourself to see if you're happy. Because if you know, she's not making the effort to be more patient with you, then why would you be inclined to make the effort to man up for her? You know what I'm saying? I don't like that there's an ultimatum attached to it. I think it's good that you two are challenging each other to be better. But if you're going to be raising a child with this person, if you're going to be deeply connected with this person is going to be the most important person in your life, they should feel as though you are enough. How do you feel about that?
No, I feel good. I like that. I like that a lot. And I can't wait to tell her she's going to be so excited I got on the show. But I kind of like that. I like that there's a balance, you know, and I really agree that it's a two-way street and it'll take effort on both our parts. So I really like that.
Anything else you want to say before we go, Simba?
No, thank you so much. Bye, chat. Bye, Lyle.
Goodbye, Simba.
Thanks. Bye.
Simba. I don't know. I don't have a wife. I don't have children. I'm not in love. I don't know if I'll ever be in love. I don't know if anything qualifies me to tell Simba anything, you know? I'm just an old chunk of coal. I'm just an old green crackly leaf, you know? Hello?
Dr. Geck.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, sir. I called because I got this problem. I ran off, you know? I ran off about 1,100 miles, and now I gotta rip the Band-Aid off and tell her that I'm not coming back, and I need your help. How do I do that?
Okay, so you said you've ran away.
Yeah.
Where did you run away from?
The mountains of Idaho.
You ran away to Idaho or from Idaho?
Yeah.
You
It's
ran away
cold.
from the mountains of Idaho because it sounds very cold. Where did you run away to?
San Diego, where it's warm.
That sounds like a well-informed decision. What was the impetus of that decision? Why did you run away? Was it just the weather?
Well, I'm allergic to the cold, eh? I'll bet a Gecko is as well, but I actually am, and it's called cold urticaria, and it's just not. I don't do well in the cold.
And so, from what you've said, you left someone there. You left a woman who is important to you in Idaho. Is that what I'm hearing?
I did. I freaking did that, and I'm not really that. I'm not proud of it, and I'm not happy about it, but I did it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you have any conversation with her before you left, or did you just completely leave and then not tell her?
No, she saw me packing some bags and stuff, and I said, I'm going to hire one of your friends to take me to the airport. You think that would be okay? I said that, and then I did it, and then I flew away.
And why was it so hard to leave this person behind?
She's really, she's a sweet old gal, you know. I'm old some bitch, and so is she, and so, like, we've been around the block, and she's pretty nice little girl and stuff, but yeah, I have the mind of a 20-year-old, and I need those 20-year-old things, and those old girls, they just may not be able to satisfy a fellow like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. How long have you and the girl that you left behind? How long had you and her been together?
Well, I started kidding around with her and stuff for about 10 years, and then we became kind of intimate for several years, and then I lived with her for several months last fall and winter and ran off. I don't like the cold.
How come? Well. So then tell me this: how come she didn't come with you?
No, she has family and friends and stuff. You know, a lot of that kind of thing going on, eh? I don't. Well, I have family and friends, but I could give a fuck about it, you know. I just go where I go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, in sort of examining, like, what's important to you in the context of this decision, would you say that, and it's okay if this is the answer, because I think it's good to know what you value, is friends and family and relationships with other people, is that important to you?
You know, I'd rather just sunbathe on a rock out in the middle of the desert than hang out with any of them. I've been that way. Most of my life I've been that way, you know. I'm a prospector, so I would dig holes in the ground. Sometimes I would dig for hundreds of yards, and I enjoyed being way, way down there, you know, and all by myself. All you could hear was your heartbeat.
Do you mind if I ask you how old you are?
I'm 70 plus, a little more than 70.
And you say that you really enjoy being alone. Has it been like that for your entire life?
Yeah. I would disappear into the mountains, and I wouldn't come out for a long time, eh?
What would
I was
you
married once.
The time.
I was married, gal. I was married to this gal. She's a secretary, you know, in a college, and she wanted me to become something, you know, other than a bum. And a prospector to her was a bum, you know, and so I went to school, and I quit a semester before I graduated with distinguished honors, and it's all because she goes, you know what, this summer you're not going to the mountains ever again. You're going to just stay home. And that day I was working for a law guy, and I was an intern, and he come in and he told me, I'm going to bump you up 14 to 85 cases, and I'm not going to give you a raise. I ran off that day, too. I ran off, and I didn't come back. I never even went back home, ever. Home was not
What
home
is
anymore.
home? Where's home for you?
Oh, man. I must have been a nomad in my past life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm nomadic. I'm not very domesticated. That's not good, and I'm not civilized either, mostly.
Well, hold on. Can I stop you for just a second? You said that you're saying that's not that good, and that leads into what I was going to ask you is, so you're saying that you've been nomadic for most of your life, you've been very comfortable and actively pursued lots of time alone, and I'm curious, if anything at all, have there been many cons to this lifestyle, or many times in which you reconsidered your position of always desiring to be nomadic and to be alone? Have there been times where you wanted more roots?
I've lost a few friends over it, because if you were a friend of mine and you just came up on me all of a sudden, like, knocked on my door, I'd be all upset. You needed to let me know you were going to come there and visit me.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I might just pull a gun off the shelf and back you the hell out of the door and tell you never to come back again,
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way I was. And I'm having a hard time with that now in San Diego. You people knocking on the door all the time. Holy shit. Oh, my.
People are knocking on your door all the time in San Diego. Why are they knocking on your door?
Oh, there's delivery. I don't go out to the stores much, so I have things delivered. They knock, blah, blah, and they walk away, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I never allowed people to come knocking on my door. I had 2 gates, and they're both locked, and there was lots of signs saying scary shit,
Mm-hmm. Now, I have another question for you.
In the mountains, you do that.
I have another question for you. Do you, because I feel like there's a difference between these two, and I'm curious what it is for you. Do you just enjoy being alone, or do you actively not like other people?
I totally be comfortable with me. I just, I don't totally like or dislike other people, because sometimes on the wallflower, I'm like, blah, 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 and stuff. However, when I'm doing blah, 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 I need to be by myself, and you guys need to get the fuck out of here.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's some people, that are comfortable being alone, and I'm one of them. I've ruined many a woman's life. I've been married 4 times and had numerous girlfriends and stuff, but none of it stuck, because I had to go to the hills.
How long after being in a relationship will you typically start to feel like you're tired of it and you need to be alone?
Well, I met this gal on the internet today, and it lasted about 3 or 4 hours, and I was tired of it after that, and I had to go, this is not going to work out. Okay, bye. So.
So after 4 marriages and all these girlfriends, all these people you're meeting online, what keeps you going back? Because after 4 marriages, because on the 4th marriage, right, you had to be like, all right, didn't work out the previous 3 times, but let's try it again. What made you want to try again?
Dude, it's the scent of a woman, right? How can you not? How can you not? I'm sorry, sir, but that was the way it is.
Do you have friends? Just platonic friends?
No, I have a couple, but rarely do I speak to them. Rarely. A couple times a year, maybe. I call one of my good friends once a year on his birthday.
You see one of your good friends once a year on his birthday.
No, I just talk to him on the phone.
So when you're alone, what do you do to pass the time? What are some activities that you find yourself doing day to day?
I do a lot of exercises because I'm an old part, and I want to stay in shape. And so, and I read. I read like 1 million pages a year, you know. People that can read, they can do whatever the hell they want, you know, because they got all the words in their head. So I love reading. I probably read 3-4 books a week. And they can be of anything. I'm thinking about reading books on how to be a doctor and a lawyer, and hey, maybe I'll even learn how to be a therapist. I don't know. Probably not. I'd be a bad therapist. Yeah, I really would.
Why do you think you would be a bad therapist?
Because I give them bad advice, you know. They fight or flight. I'm always on the flight end of it, and so I head out, you know. That's not good all the time. You can't just pull up your stakes and run off all the time, right? But it appears that's the way I'm going to be until the day I die, so that's me.
So is that the way that you feel about yourself and about your life? Is that continually you're running away?
Or I'm just totally impulsive, right? I get an impulse and I just take it and like, I'll go buy a ticket and fly away, right? I've done that twice this year. So, yeah. And it gets expensive, you know, for old people to go buy tickets and things and fly away. Yeah, or fly back. I haven't. Yeah. That's even harder to fly back.
So in 70 years, do you have anything that you regret? No
freaking way. I don't regret nothing. I've got 4 children. I've got 8 grandchildren, and I just love every freaking one of them, but I just want them to stay the hell away from me, so.
So you didn't even mention that. You didn't mention that you had children and grandchildren.
I know I can't tell you everything on this little short thing here, but I mean I could do volumes. I've been a prospector. I've dug 410 yards of tunnel underground by hand with a sledgehammer, a pick bar, and a wheelbarrow, you know, and a candlelight. I've done a lot of the things that the old timers did. I'm an old timer too.
Do you ever?
I cut thousands.
Do you ever see your children or grandchildren?
I cut thousands. What's that?
Do you ever see your children or grandchildren?
You know, on Messenger and stuff.
You're pretty tech savvy, considering how you're talking about doing all of being an old timer.
Yeah, man, I've been to college a couple times, and I could have been a distinguished honor student if I'd just stayed there another semester. I've got the knowledge, you know, educated old part. However, I don't know if education helps you to be more social or not. Probably not. I'm a hard case, huh, Geck?
So, do you have any advice for anyone out there listening to this of anything that you have learned in your time of solitude and introspection?
Well, golly, I do, Geck. I got advice for the young folks out there.
Please.
Don't get a job and work yourself hard and hurt yourself. You know, don't hurt your back working for somebody. Just if you have to, just be a bum. You know, because you'll be okay. You make enough money to feed yourself, you'll be okay. You won't hurt yourself, and you'll last longer. And then, if you got to get married, don't have children until you're in your late 40s. If you have to, just adopt a 17-year-old. That kid stuff, I don't know, that's no way. I'll make you have gray hair. Yeah, so there you go.
Did you have a hard time raising your kids?
What?
Did you have a hard time raising your kids?
No. I live with my youngest daughter, and she's the most intelligent freaking person I know. And, wow, yeah. She's an artist, and she's, you know, she's in the top of her field. She's only 21, and she makes several $100s a day. Way more than I ever did at her age, that's for sure. Yeah. Successful young woman. She's married to a pirate. He's a nice guy, too. Yeah, he's an actual pirate.
She's married to an actual... Where did she meet an actual pirate?
She met him online, right?
Oh,
and
wow.
she told me that she would never, ever get married. And by God, she married him, you know, somewhere off over in Washington somewhere. He's stationed there as a pirate. And I'm so like, yeah, I think they get along just fine.
Well, Teeler, you said your name was?
Tiller, like a boat tiller or a rototiller, something like, you know, like that. That kind of tiller.
Tiller, any final thoughts, feelings, sentiments that you wish to share before we go?
I think your show is really cool, Dr. Geck, and I'll continue to listen.
Thank you very much, Tiller.
Welcome, and you have a good evening.
You as well. Shout out to Tiller. Very interesting perspective from Tiller. There's a lot to unpack out of that. The idea of... There's an idea that I think about all the time where, like, you know, society tells us that... I mean, what is the thesis of every Disney movie, of a lot of things, is that the most important thing in life is friends and family. But what if it's not? What about Tiller? He seems like he's having a great time. I don't know if he's having a great time. But he seemed like it. People can seem like a lot of things and not be those things, but I don't know. I'm not going to say one way or the other. But he seems like he's chilling. He seems like he loves... He seemed like he had love, right? He clearly loved... I don't know if it was his daughter or his granddaughter that he was talking about. But he clearly loved her. Clearly loved his children. But also loved nothing more than his alone time. His books. Where the hell did she meet a pirate? That was the one thing I wasn't sure about. Hello?
Hey, Geck?
Hello, is this Daniel?
Yes, this is. What's up with you?
Not a whole lot. Is there anything in particular that you wanted to talk about today?
I have a couple of things. Here.
Okay, tell me.
Number one, I just found out that we have a marijuana farmers market where I live.
Okay.
That's it's kind of exciting. I'm new to the world of marijuana, so I'm kind of stoked about it a little bit.
Daniel, you had a particular thing that you told the call screener that you wanted to talk about, and I can tell that you are sort of skirting around it. Why are you doing that?
It's kind of I don't know. It's a little nervous thing. It's a little bit of anxiety to talk about it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't usually open up to random geckos on the internet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, Daniel, it says here that you have a crush on one of your coworkers.
That is true. This is true. She's very, I don't know. She's nice. She laughs at my jokes, which I think is pretty stellar. She appreciates my meatloaf puns after the singer died, R.I.P. And she seems pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. So, are you going to make any attempt to get to know her better, to talk to her about things, to go on a date with her, to somehow action upon your crush?
So yes, actually, but she just broke up with her boyfriend, so I'm trying to give it a little bit of time so that she can heal. But I did invite her to go to the farmer's market with me to check out all the weeds.
Okay, all right. So everything does ultimately come back to each other. There was in fact an element to you bringing up this farmer's market. You've invited her to the farmer's market to go buy weed, and how did she respond to that?
She just said it was interesting. It's over the weekend, so she's given it some thought to think about it. But she has been bringing up how she wants to hang out with friends outside of work some more, and she wants to, like, she invited me to go to her New Year's party.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking there could be something, but I don't want to, push my luck and, reveal all my cards and then have it all cave in on me,
Why are you so adverse to? I mean, even in this phone call, you seem not even in this phone call or in your interactions with your friends or with people you're romantically interested in. You seem to not want to show all of your cards, just in general.
I guess I'm just kind of a reserved person. I feel like if I put everything out in the open, somehow it could come back to bite me. I like to have a little bit of mystery too. That way, like I'm more intriguing.
Okay, and does your desire not to show all of your cards, is it come from a fear of showing your cards, or is this an intentional ploy to seem a certain way? Because to be honest, I don't like either of those.
It could be kind of both. Yeah,
Why do you?
I feel like it could be kind of both. I feel like. Go ahead.
Why do you desire to appear more mysterious?
I think it just adds that much more interest for others. People, when they watch a show, you leave the show off on a cliffhanger for some episodes, and you think, oh my God, what's going to happen next? And it leaves you wondering and so interested to stay invested. I feel like if I show some sort of mystery to myself, well-founded mystery, I don't make stuff up, but I kind of reserve just enough so that, she could be more interested and say, okay, so what's that? Like she's asked me all questions about, the next car I'm going to buy and stuff. And, I try to leave some sort of reservation for that, but also, like I said, I feel like if I open up, it could be used against me to I don't know, exploit my insecurity.
Totally. I totally hear what you're saying. Daniel, man, I'm gonna tell you. I know I just went on a whole spiel about how I don't want to give advice, but that's a terrible. I unfortunately host what some may consider an advice podcast, but I will tell you, in my own personal life, when it comes to the realm of sort of romantic hobble gobble, or not even romantic hobble gobble, business hobble gobble, friendship hobble gobble, all types of hobble gobble, I have found that the more I can just be without trying to change my personality or strategize. Everyone's very obsessed with strategizing the various ways they can say this cool thing or act this certain way to get this person to think that of them or whatnot. And I don't know about you, but I used to do a lot, and don't get me wrong, I still do my fair share of doing that. But every time I find myself doing that, it feels just stressful. It feels just like, you know, I've been so much happier
a lot of work
in this situation. It's a lot of work to try to seem a certain way. And I find myself happier when I can just be. And people naturally, I've noticed, will either be attracted to who I am when I am just being, or they will not be. Right? But I don't go out of my way. I try. I never want to present any of this as if I'm the master of it, because I'm totally not. But this is just where I would ultimately like to be in my life. That's what I'm telling you. I try to just exist, and not try to seem a certain way to people. Because it just makes me happier. It makes me feel better about myself. It makes me feel a little bit less like I'm putting on a thing of a way to try to be, and it just skips so many unnecessary steps. Like, for example, something I've been working on lately, again, not a master of it, but have been working on it, is if I'm ever texting with someone and I find myself rewriting and writing a text to try, like, it is trying to craft the perfect text.
Absolutely.
That sounds the perfect way, right? I've decided I'm not going to do that anymore. I've decided, and I look at my text with people, and I want them to look all the same. I don't want to text one person one sort of cool way, and one person like a more like relax. I just exist. I am, and people either will like me or they won't. But I'm tired of trying to craft the cool text, trying to say the cool thing. It's exhausting. It's so much outward effort, where you could instead, Daniel, focus on improving the aspects of your personality that you yourself are proud of, leaning more into yourself, and confidently trying to express that self out into the world. Again, I'm not an expert of that, but that's the philosophy that I like to undertake when it comes to things like this. So I get why you want
to live by.
I get why you want to create an air of mystery, but here's the thing. This girl that you like, she's either going to like you or she's not. And in reality, the idea that you can say some cool thing or act some cool way that will change that is faulty, I think. And I think you would be better off focusing on just being yourself as much as you possibly can and projecting that as authentically as you possibly can, and then see who sticks around. It'll be it's a tougher journey for sure, but it will be a better long-term strategy for you than to try to seem mysterious. What do you think about all that?
I think that's very well put and very well founded, because there are times when I'm talking with her, like I'll bring up things about myself, like, a playlist I made for my funeral, and like things that are more about me and less like,
yes.
Act like made up, or less to, kind of persuade her, like you said. But like when I have those types of conversations, it just feels more genuine and more authentic, and it's just a lot easier to do. But that example that you had with text is beautifully crafted. When you have to sit there and rewrite the text over and over, it doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel correct. So exactly. I agree with you 100% to be yourself, and that's something that I kind of want to fix on that. So thanks for shedding light to that.
For sure, Daniel. I wish you good luck. And again, as I said, I'm not an expert at these things. I'm trying to do them alongside you. So, I hope that helped inform something.
It really did. It kind of opened up my eyes a little bit. So Thank you, Geck. Appreciate it.
Thank you for calling, Daniel.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest.
Oh, I cut him off before he said to enjoy the rest of my day. Now my day is gonna suck. I seriously do that. I made a promise to myself. And maybe you guys will join me. But if I'm crafting a text back for more than 5 minutes or something, I've been doing this lately. I'll catch myself if I'm trying to craft the perfect text or email or whatever it is, and I'll go, what the fuck am I? Just send it. Who gives it? Because I fucking genuinely believe that whatever it is you want from the person, whether it's you want them to go on a date with you, you want them to be friends with you, you want them to work with you in some sort of business capacity, whatever it is, they kind of already will want to or won't want to, I think. And the amount that you can influence whether or not they will or won't by whatever it is you say in your text, aside from the outliers, if you say something that's completely crazy, but I believe that the amount of influence that you can have by the crafting the perfect whatever is kind of low. Think about it like this. Think about the person you have a crush on, right? If they texted you, you would respond. It doesn't really matter what they say. They could send an emoji. They could send a thing with 5 exclamation points. It doesn't matter. You would respond. Why? Because you want to. It doesn't matter what they say. People either will want to or won't want to. That's just what I think. But I'm a crazy Gecko guy on the computer. All right. Hello, folks. It is Lyle here to take a quick break from the podcast to thank our sponsors for this episode. It's the only sponsor we've had on here so far. Yes, that's correct. It's Sheath Underwear. Check this out, Sheath Underwear. I've spoken at length how much I love Sheath Underwear. It's comfortable. It's well-fitting. It's flattering to the genitalia. Flattering to the buttocks. If you hadn't heard me say it before, I used to be a boxer's boy. I used to have a drawer made exclusively of disgusting, filthy boxers that sort of floated around haphazardly around my legs and my penis, and the boxers just felt very indifferent to my nether region, whereas conversely, Sheath Underwear is putting work in down there. Its soft, durable fabric is showing love, care, and attention to my entire nether region. My balls have never felt more respected by another piece of clothing than they have by Sheath Underwear. And I am here on my podcast to tell you all to go to www.sheathunderwear.com and use the coupon code GECKO for 20% off at checkout. SHEATH Underwear. I think that's how you spell sheath. I don't know why, but in my head I put an L in there. There's no L in sheath. Whatever. Go to sheathunderwear.com. Use the coupon code GECKO. I'm pretty sure everyone knows how to spell Gecko. If you don't, it's in the title of the podcast. And get yourself a pair or two of Sheath Underwear today. It's a great way to support the show as well as supporting your penis and butt. All right. We did it. We did an ad read. I feel like I did a pretty good job promoting this product. We'll see how many people go to the website and use the coupon code, but I feel like I did a pretty good job. I feel like I did really sell it. I mean, it's a good underwear. It feels nice on my body. Sheathunderwear.com, coupon code GECKO, 20% off. And that's it. That's all I have to say ever again for the rest of my life. Let's get back to the podcast. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. It says here that you are a therapist and you would like to talk about the difference between what I do and actual therapy, and I would love to have this conversation.
Yeah, I'd love to have this conversation. I was telling the screener guy that I was super stoked to even get to that point because I've tried calling many times and have never been able to get through. And then, I'm a big fan. I follow you on the gram, follow you on stream. It's really cool.
Thank you. I'm excited to have this conversation. This is going to sound out of context when I put it into a podcast, but we did just have a caller call in saying that they were hanging on a thread, and I had to decline that call because it felt a little bit too intense for me, and I felt as though it would be irresponsible to take a call like that, even though I do hope that person gets help. What do you think about that, Tiffany?
Yeah, no, I was actually watching that, and I was like, and I felt very nervous for you and that conversation. I think you handled it great.
So tell me, you said the differences between what I do and actual therapy. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all this.
Well, I view what you do as entertainment, but with very genuine flair. Obviously this is unscripted. You don't know who's going to be giving you a call, and so I think you bring yourself and your reactions, your genuine reactions into that dynamic, and oftentimes it's very funny, super hilarious, hence the entertainment value. But I really appreciate your kind of authenticity in these conversations. So as far as what I think is different between what you and I do is I operate out of a therapeutic orientation. I was trained extensively in mental health, mental disorders. I often work collaboratively with an entire treatment team. I've treated things like suicidality and self-harm and things like that, and have a kind of therapeutic orientation to operate out from to treat that. So, I view what you and I do as very different, but what I really appreciate about what you do is this kind of genuineness that you bring into the dynamic. And that's something, as a therapist, I am by profession, but I always like to tell my clients, like, I'm a human first, a therapist as well. But, I try to bring my genuine self in the interactions I have with my clients as well. So, I think those are kind of the big differences.
Does anyone ever come to you and you feel as though you cannot help them?
Oh, absolutely. Anytime I get into territory where I feel like, it's out of my expertise, I really try to understand my limitations and be very transparent about them. I think that's part of my realness and genuineness in my treatment is, hey, you're telling me about these things and it is really not in my scope of expertise. So, I do recommend treatment in X, Y, or Z area. But that happens frequently.
Do you think? Do you have a optimistic viewpoint that everyone can be helped, or have you ever met someone or had a client come in and be like, there is no hope for this person?
I generally have an optimistic perspective. That's largely based in my therapeutic training and my involvement in research. I have a lot of hope for treatment outcomes and treatment development, and I've worked in really severe populations, and I've seen progress and recovery. So I do. And if I didn't have a sense of hope, I don't think I'd be doing what I'm doing. That being said, especially in the past couple of years through the pandemic, mental health has really declined, and it's incredibly tiring, I will say, and I've felt more burnt out than I have in a long time. But I would say I do have hope, and I think it's not a black or white answer either. I think there's certain populations that have worse prognosis and some that have better prognosis. But it doesn't mean that there isn't still a chance, and that if, they're part of who I treat, that I have zero kind of hope in even some improvement in their conditions.
And so you say you get burnt out by doing all of this work. What do you do when you get burnt out to revive yourself?
Oh, I take vacations. I have a really supportive partner. I really try to kind of distance myself and get myself out away from work. I like to treat myself, It doesn't hurt to buy a nice pair of shoes. It doesn't hurt to, go out to a nice dinner. It doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, treat yourself. I like just shopping. I like cooking. There's a lot of things I like doing, and those are all, there's forms of self-care that I think are a little bit more indulgent, and then there's, the day-to-day. My dog just crawled on me. I love my dog.
What are you doing when you find yourself indulging?
Oh, like the fancy dinners, like fancy dinners, or I, treat myself to something extra expensive. And, it's hard because as a therapist, you don't make all that much money. You don't go into the profession for the big dollars. But, I do enjoy just at least feeling like I'm treating myself. I'm a big thrift shopper. I like deals. And so, if I go to, TJ Maxx or Nordstrom Rack and find something that would otherwise be hundreds of dollars that I've scored for like 20, that's like one of the most fun things for me to do.
Okay, so you're a real therapist. You burn out sometimes, but you go to the Olive Garden and you're in shape. What other questions do I have for you as a real therapist? Oh yeah, is what I'm doing illegal?
I don't think so, but also I'm not a lawyer, so
right.
I couldn't give you that specific answer. I don't think so. I think you're very clear about what you do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a real. Couldn't imagine being a real therapist. That sounds tough.
It is. It's not an easy job, but I think the training to go into a therapist helps me to feel well equipped to do what I do.
Yeah, I mean, I hate being a fake one sometimes. It's hard,
But to be honest, things like this, watching your feed and following you, is something I do for self-care. I really enjoy what you do, and it brings happiness into my day. And I've shared your content with my other therapist friends, and we all get a good laugh out of what you do, and it's really nice.
Well, damn, thank you very much, Tiffany. I appreciate all the kind words. And is there before we go, is there anything in particular else that you want to say before we depart and never see each other again?
Well, something I told the screener guy was, I'm calling it what I do as a therapist, and what you do is not always super funny. Like this most recent call, it can feel kind of scary, and I can't imagine all of your calls to be as funny and joyful. So I just wanted to know how you handle things, and some of the things you do for self-care, and take care of your own mental health.
That's a good question. I was talking about this before, but on Monday's stream, I was falling apart by the end of it. Today's stream, though, was great. I don't know. It's hard because it really feels like I'm rolling the dice every time I get on here, where sometimes I feel really great about things, and I'm like, oh, this is a good thing to be doing, and sometimes I'm like, what the hell have I gone and gotten myself into by being a fake Gecko guy thing on the computer? But how do I stay sane? I don't know. I wish I could give you a answer for that. I've been trying to meditate more, journaling, getting high, although that's probably not a good one. I eat a lot of candy. That's also not a good one. Just bad stuff. But I don't know, trying to take breaks. Although I'm conflicted about breaks. I'm very conflicted about the idea of breaks because a break, okay, like if I'm being very stressed out by my job or by something by let's say by my job, and I'm like, okay, I need a break. I almost feel like I'm escaping from the thing as opposed to facing it head on and fixing the problem where the problem is. Because, right, like I could take a 3-week vacation, whatever the fuck, come back, and then if I'm not feeling good, I haven't fixed the problem. I've just escaped from it momentarily. I still have to go back to it. So that's my sort of thing about breaks. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty good at finding time to think about things outside of the stream and live a life outside of the computer. But still, when I come back, it doesn't feel like I've addressed the problem. I'm like, you escape from the problem, and you come back, it's still there, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have a conundrum on your hands. I was thinking you were going to go into a separate thought about breaks and why they can be so conflicting, because I feel similarly about breaks, but in a different way. But that's not where I thought you were going, and it sounds to me like maybe if the problem being work, which is what I imagine this streaming to be, feeling that degree of stressful for you, it's not something a vacation necessarily is going to fix. There's something about what you do that is, I think, more inherently stressful, and perhaps that needs to be like explored, you know?
It's true. Although I feel good right now. This has been a good stream. I've been feeling very good for this stream. So who knows? It's always like that's I think that's the biggest problem that I have is that what is the fucking dice? What is the x plus y times z divided by q equation? That I can to always feel good, but it doesn't. I don't feel like I can. Sometimes I don't feel like I have control over that. You just gotta go in. You just gotta show up. But
yeah. I mean, I think it's probably a lot of things that contribute to how you enter in stream that kind of primes you for whether it's going to be good to some degree, and then I think whatever the dice rolls as far as who shows up in your stream. I mean, I don't know. I feel like some of that unpredictability is something I deal with too, and there are aspects of my job that I wish were more certain or stable in some way. But it's also what makes it kind of exciting and interesting. It feels like a new thing to figure out or kind of challenge myself with or grow in some way, shape, or form. So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword.
I agree with that. Tiffany, are you going to invoice me for this?
No, because this isn't therapy. This is me talking to you as a human. I'm enjoying this, and to some degree, my therapy self is a bit inseparable from my human self. But I'm certainly not operating out of some kind of therapeutic orientation right now. I do appreciate what you're telling me, and I am thinking about how I feel in my life too, and how I deal with my stressors, and really digesting your questions. So this is more open and transparent than I would. Well, it's hard to say. I'm pretty open in therapy sessions. Like I said, I like to be pretty real and keep it real, like to be really genuine in my session. So, but that being said, no, I'm not thinking in terms of therapy. I'm not hypothesizing anything or anything like that.
Do you have like a therapy brain and a person brain where like if this was a therapy session and I was telling you things, would you be hypothesizing about certain things, like diagnosing whatever it is?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely would be. I'm trained to do clinical interviewing, so there's sets of questions that I ask for, different diagnoses, and so I'm really thinking about different diagnostic pictures. There's also structure to my therapy sessions that, from session 1 through session 10, and different stages of therapy and things like that. So it really is much more structured and clinical in that way. I'm thinking I don't know, it almost feels like a different part of my brain. And I am thinking about hypotheses, but I'm also telling my clients too, like, hey, if something comes to mind as far as a diagnosis, I will be the first person to talk to you about that. So I'm not here to like hide that from you or anything. I like to really be transparent about this sort of thing.
So what's wrong with me, Tiffany?
I don't know. I wasn't thinking about it. I'm like starstruck, if I'm being completely honest. Like, I got through the call and I was just like, I almost lost words what to say, talking to the screener. And then at the end, he was like, okay, I'm going to put you in the queue, but just so you know, you might not get picked. And then my heart dropped. I was like, what? I made it this far and it might not get through again. And I've tried calling many times. So it's just like, fingers crossed, hope I get through. And so I'm really just kind of stoked.
Well, Tiffany, I'm so glad that you called. It's nice to hear a real therapist's perspective on this. I don't even know if I'm a fake therapist. I think I'm just a Gecko guy. I say this. I don't like the name therapy, Gecko. We're kind of just here to chat and exist and breathe on each other and whatnot. But thank you for sharing your perspective, Tiffany, and for having this lovely conversation with me. Is there anything else you want to say before we go to the people, to the world?
No, thank you. Thanks for having me on. I'm super grateful and really happy. And yeah, this just sort of made my night. So thank you. I hope you have a really awesome evening. And thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Tiffany. I will try. Have a good rest of the night.
You too.
We did it. We talked to Tiffany. Hello, is this Gregory?
That's me.
How are you, Gregory?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm doing okay.
You sound so different on. I was just saying, you sound so different on speaker on my phone versus on Twitch. It's actually wild.
What is your name?
My name is Greg.
What is your question, Greg?
Yeah, I go by. My question? Well, I have one question and a story for you. I'm also, I know you were talking a lot about you're a filmmaker and you started in film school and stuff. And a question I have for you after just watching your channel for quite some time, what kind of film do you see yourself making? Did you want to get into directing?
When I was 13 years old, I decided I wanted to become a filmmaker. I made films with my friends through all of high school, from when I was 13 years old to like 18 years old. All of high school, we made a bunch of films. And to this day, the process of making those movies is probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. I don't genuinely making because here's the thing, it's so hard to make a movie. There's so many things you have to do to do it, and when your crew is a bunch of 15-year-olds, it makes it 1,000 times harder. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. And then I went to film school and I made some films in college, and now I'm a podcast guy thing, and I don't know. I'm not gonna say I'd never make another film again in my entire life, but I haven't thought about a kind of film I would make moving forward. I'm not against it, but it's one of those things. It's one of those things where when I was 20, I was like, when I'm 24, I'm going to make a movie. And now I'm 24 and I haven't made a movie. And now I'm like, when I'm in my late 30s, I'm going to make a movie. And I'm going to get there. I'm not going to make a movie. So it's never going to happen. Enough about me, Tony.
I bet you could make it happen if you really wanted to. Do some kind of like comedy short film even. I could see you making that happen for sure. Gecko
I'd
theme,
like
of course.
to. I'd like to make a movie at some point. I don't know if it would be a Gecko thing, but I like doing this. This is I will. You know what I will say about this? It's a lot easier. And when I look for things to do in my life, I just look for whatever is the least challenging. But Gregory, you said your name was?
Yes, sir.
Oh, holy shit! I totally thought your name was not Gregory. I made a wild guess. How can I get you this evening?
Yeah. So the main thing I wanted to throw at you is I had my first official like full ass adult relationship. Like it was like I'm 23 and I never really like committed hardcore, had something very serious before, and I've learned so much about like my boundaries and like and just like who I am, and also the things that truly matter the most to me, and also it kind of made me truly think about what my real purpose is too, and what drives me as a human being, which has been pretty incredible. But I recently broke up with my girlfriend about, well, I guess she's my ex now. Yeah, it's been a month actually. And what I wanted to run past you is I created such a healthy dynamic through the way I kind of have an outlook on life and how how my values are as a human being, where I'm about just being as considerate as possible, communicating as much as possible, not letting emotions get to me, trying to always just be communicative, considerate, and constructive always. And for me, kind of enforcing that mindset with also just within the relationship with her, we kind of created this somewhat strange dynamic even after the breakup, where we have our chemistry's there. We still very deeply love each other, but like those red flags that would come across within that relationship are still there. And I'm trying my best to maintain creating some kind of friendship, but the amount of like emotional investment is so deep, where it just like it kills me just to even think about her potentially being with another person, as well as she that has the same feelings towards me and with being another person. But we're both like on our shit trying to do our thing. We both are. Yeah, so it's just interesting. But I was thinking through hearing all of that, do you think even creating that kind of dynamic in a relationship and making that super healthy, what is the possibility? I know the possibility is probably not so high of continuing some kind of friendship, but what's your read on creating that kind of safe space and that kind of intimacy and healthiness? Yet, is it even possible?
My initial thought is I think it's very cool that you've like gained something from this relationship that you are taking with you. I don't feel like a relationship has to end good, bad. I don't think that the way in which the relationship ended, whether it was good or it was bad or it was neutral, can have any effect on whether or not you choose to take something from it to benefit you as you move forward in your life. And it sounds like you did that, because you're saying to me now that you've learned how to communicate better. Your boundaries have gotten better, which is great. That's cool to hear, because you can gain that whether the relationship ended good or bad. So that's great, right? Because if you're doing things in life, you might as well get something out of them, whether good or bad. So I'm glad to hear that you got something out of it. That's the most important thing. I don't know if it's the most important thing. I don't know what the most important thing is. I'm a Gecko on the computer. But that is an important thing.
I get you. I guess that's the big takeaway.
All right. So now you're in a point where you're like, should I continue to have a relationship of any kind with this person? Because you still okay. So let me ask you something, or rather, my understanding is that you love her, she loves you, blah blah blah. You can't stand seeing each other without anyone, blah blah blah. But you made the decision that now is not the right time, that you have other things in your life to pursue, so you amicably broke up. Is that an accurate-ish description of what's going on.
I'll give you the rundown, the abridged version for sure. What ended up happening was, of course, constructive, considerate, right? So what ended up happening was I literally risked my health, my finances, my identity to make this person happy, and this person had a very heavy expectation. And I was still am so in love, and also had those love goggles, I guess you can call it, the facade of, like not seeing or knowing the red flags and being aware of them, but just diluting them, like I know that's a pretty typical thing that we go through. But it got to such a level where, I graduated film school, right? And I made my big thesis film. I was getting some traction, and I was going through doing editing gigs as well. So I'm sure you've also experienced, coming out of doing film stuff in general, and just trying to find that balance, right? And I noticed that I was just my life became trying to make her happy nonstop, and then I was depending on her, which was the first time ever I felt that. I've noticed. I was like, I'd always been so independent, and then I became dependent, where it's like, if she's happy, I'm happy, and it got really bad because I was just like so immersed and so kind, so loving. So what ended up happening is she has some narcissistic tendencies, and some power kind of things. So she kind of like definitely took advantage of my kind heart and my nice mentality, and that's just how this kind of like totally went backwards. And what ended up happening is I took it to a whole other level, where I love this person so much that I legit wrote down, journaled all my thoughts, tried to be as constructive as possible and helpful. And I literally decoded why she says the certain things she does, and why she's mean about certain things, and why I even provided
and all
examples
this time
of how
spent
I try to
decoding
exert myself.
and all this stuff. Was that stressful for you?
Oh yeah, of course. I'm balancing a few editing jobs, trying to get a more stable job, and then I got
I want to go back. I want to go back to the. All right, I feel like I kind of get what's going. Let's go to the present here. We're in the present now.
Okay,
and you're deciding whether or not you want to remain friends with this person.
100%, and I know that there's just heavy investment, heavy love, and there's, like you said too, there's there's still that love, but I'm fearful that I'm going to get just hurt more and more, because this person seems like they're slowly catching on from all the things I told them about themselves.
And again, I don't know the full scope of the relationship, and again, I'm only a gecko on the computer, but here's my thoughts. You have a level of self-awareness, a level of, I don't know what you would call it, but maybe you would call it a desire for betterment, a lust for life, a lust for the future. I can see that within you, because because you started this off by you started this off on a pretty positive note by saying that you found something of value from this relationship, that you've learned something. You've learned how to communicate better, how to set better boundaries. That's what you said. You've added to your emotional skill set. You, I can tell, are invested in making yourself a better person and growing and in looking to the future. I can see that in you. And so I would say that if you wish to continue investing in yourself moving forward, especially at this beautiful age that you're at, that we're at, essentially, I don't see any reason to continue having this person in your life if much of what you can remember from their time in your life is just stressful and is a heavy level of investment and codependency and all the things that you have just now run down to us, right? So, I would, and it's not, it's, of course, easier said than done. But I think you can do it because you've shown us that you're a guy who cares about his own self-development. I would move and look past, beyond this person, into the great wide sea of other people and experiences and opportunities that there are in life, as opposed to continuing to invest and be further dependent upon this person.
Understood. I appreciate that. And I feel that I am slowly going through that process. Like, I've gotten things back that I was fearful that I wasn't going to get back. Like, I finally took action to commit to one of my next film projects, and I'm going to start trying to get producers, investors going for that. And that's what's kind of like, that's my purpose. That's who I am. So I'm like so excited for that. And that's kind of what's really keeping me going while I'm balancing everything else. But yeah, it's hard because there's just so much chemistry and love there. And also, she's not the most, she has some impulsive tendencies as well. So she'd end up being mad at me.
Well, there we go. I mean, sorry, I'm sorry to cut you off, but there we go. I mean, you've got you've got your film projects. You've got, you are building what I like to call a diversified life portfolio, which is helpful because you said that you had dependency problems. And I can hear in your voice.
Well, I learned that recently. I need to edit.
But I can hear it. You can hear from all the things you're saying. You care about developing yourself. You care about building a diverse life portfolio. And I encourage you to continue caring about those things and taking actions down that path. What did you say your name was again?
Greg or Gregory, either or.
Greg, good luck to you. And last thing I'm going to tell you before we go. Don't wait for people to give you, as a film guy, whatever, don't wait for people to give you permission to make things. Just make them and put them on the internet. Okay. Gregory.
Amen. I hear you.
Thank you for calling. I'll talk to you soon. Hello?
Hello?
Hi, this is Courtney.
What's up?
Courtney, how can I geck you this evening?
I don't know how to answer that question. I've heard you ask it a few times, and I just didn't think it would ever happen to me.
Can I vent to you a little bit here?
Yeah, no.
See, on one, this is a real problem. This is a problem. Is that on one hand, this is ultimately the problem of I don't really know what this stream is, or what the goal of it is, because on one hand, it's it's free-form conversations with people that don't have any sort of, that are sort of boundaryless, right? But then on the other hand, I'm kind of look, if you're gonna call in, have something, something, at least a little bit. It's just easier if you have a little bit of something, And also, you did. Here's another thing: is you talked to a call screener who asked you what it is you wanted to talk about. And you did tell them something, and it happened. And I don't know. I want to know this from your perspective, because I get callers all the time who are who I say, what did you want to talk about? And they go, I don't know. And I'm like, you told the person what you want. Why are you telling me that you don't know? If you told the call screener what it is you want to talk about, I'm not upset. I'm a little bit just baffled. And I'm also on my end figuring out, because at the end of the day, it's my responsibility, all this stuff. So on my end, I'm what's the bar here? This makes sense, right? I'm not talking in loops, right? This all makes sense.
Oh yeah, I wasn't sure if I wasn't supposed to just jump into it, I wasn't sure if
there's no supposed to. There's no supposed to. There's no rules. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I should set rules. There could be a supposed to.
No.
I could set rules.
I mean,
I could be I was watching I was watching a little bit of Dr. Drew's stuff, because we're gonna have him on soon, and he's very much caller, what's your question? Okay, thank you. All right, and then I know it's a different style, but I'm well, I don't know. I don't know what my style should be, but I always go back and forth on it. But you did tell the call screener something you wanted to talk about.
I do. Yeah, I do. I wanted to tell you.
I think it was when you had attorney Tom on, you had a caller call in and they told you about the dude got pulled over and they found some like weed in his car, and dude ended up and he got a DUI for it. He told him that he like told the cops that he hadn't smoked in like 2 or 3 days or whatever, and they're like, oh well, that's it, like you still get a DUI. And then recently I was running around door dashing and I hit a roadblock on a Thursday night, which was super cool. And anyways, I had weed in my car and they were like, oh cool, well you have weed in your car, are you high right now? And I was like, no. They're like, well, when's the last time you smoked? And I was like, well, it's been like a couple of weeks. And they're like, well, you have weed in your car and like a bowl in your car, and you just say you haven't smoked. And I was like, no. And just because I remembered the episode, and to make sure to say that it had been a long time since I had smoked. And they gave me like a field sobriety test anyways, but they let me go and I didn't get a DUI. Yeah, they let me go. She said that she thought I was high, but she thought I was good to drive anyways.
So were you high?
Which I don't know how you... yeah.
I might get some flack for this, but you ever just forget that driving high is super illegal?
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, I feel like
it's an easy thing. Everyone knows. Here's the thing. Everyone knows that. Like, okay, everyone knows that driving drunk is super illegal. It's one of those. And I was talking about this. I think I was talking about this on stream the other day. It's a very similar thing with texting and driving. Texting and driving is like you ever on. Okay, because the whole thing is like you shouldn't text and drive. So when you're like going through Spotify trying to change the song and you're on your phone, it's like you somehow differentiate that from texting, even though it's the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
Just because of the messaging.
And like same with like
with driving high, it's like it's DUI. It's super legal, totally as illegal as driving drunk, but you just forget because no one ever.
Yeah. But also, I mean, like, I hear you. I absolutely hear you, and I totally agree. But also, like, I got it, right? For the most part, until I don't. But I had it.
I'm even looking at the chat. People be like, driving high is definitely not good, but driving drunk is way worse. I
totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, I just forget all the time that it's illegal.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not.
And it's also, it's not defense. I know people try to defend it, and it's like, I get it. It's like, it's at the end of the day, it's not defensible. It's not defensible at all. But I do forget that it's
right. Like, I'm not.
Like, you can't defend. I don't know. Say, you can't be like, okay, driving high is not as bad as driving drunk. It's not, but you can't defend it. There's no. Without being a crazy person.
Yeah. I mean, like, you kind of sound like an asshole being like, it's.
You totally sound like an asshole trying to defend. I've been high before. You can't, and I shouldn't ever do that.
You shouldn't. No, it's totally frowned upon.
You're
less likely to die and kill other people.
Oh, you're less likely to die and kill other people. I mean, when you're driving sober, you're pretty likely to die and kill other people, but...
Yeah, like 97% more likely than you are to die in your room. We were talking about this the other day. Yeah.
So, I would not endorse it. But it's one of those things. It's one of those things. Someone said riding a motorcycle on mushrooms is super fun. That sounds horrible. Man, this is why I want to live in a place where I can use the subway, man. Because the subway, you can be fucked up on the subway. You can get as fucked up as you want on the subway. You can get
no way, dude. That sounds
up
really
on
adorable.
the subway, and no one cares.
The first time my best friend ever did acid, she drove. Like, we thought it was going to take like an hour to kick in because that's what dude said. And then we had like a 45-minute drive home. So we were like, sweet, we'll take it now. And then like 15 minutes after we get home, we'll start tripping. and it kicked in like 15, 20 minutes. Oh yeah. She like threw up like a whole shit ton as soon as we got like where we were going. It was terrible. I was freaking out in the passenger seat. Had a great time.
Well, Courtney, what do we think? I know I sort of talked a little bit over you in this. What do you do you think we are coming away? Do you think we're coming out of this? But you and me, don't just think about if you learned anything. Think about if I learned anything. Do you think either of us learned anything from this conversation?
No.
That's okay. You can say no.
I have learned nothing. Yeah, no, I've learned nothing, but maybe you've learned something.
I didn't learn anything either.
Yeah, but that's all right. I don't know if that was like a goal that you had. Yeah,
no, it wasn't. As I said, I established this at the beginning. There's no supposed to's in this.
Yeah, no, fuck us supposed to.
Beautiful. Have a good night, Courtney.
Yeah, you too, Geck. Bye.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. What's up? Can you hear me?
Tyler.
Yeah.
How's it going?
How's it going? Good.
It's going good. It's going good.
You look a bit stressed.
Do I really?
You do. Like you're annoyed with some callers today.
I don't do. What about? Can you like sort of cut to the bone about what about that is like is it my body language? Is it my tone of voice? Like what is it that's signaling that to you?
Maybe your body language.
I feel like my body language is pretty like stagnant. Like
pretty calm.
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty calm. I mean, it's got to be a tone of voice thing. Because I kind of see it in myself a little bit.
No. I think you're good. But still seem a little stressed. Like maybe you don't want to do phone calls for a while and do cooking.
I'm trying to think. I don't really know if I can cook anything.
Sure you could.
I have to pee. Maybe that could be it.
Got to have confidence in your cooking.
Yeah.
No, don't drink your pee.
Jackson? Jackson?
Jackson.
Oh.
Jackson.
Tyler?
Yes, sir.
What's up?
What do you think about the trucking industry?
What do I think about the trucking industry? Like, what are my opinion? Like, in what sense? Yeah. Actually, you don't even have to, whatever sense you would be referring to. I have no opinion on it. I've never driven a truck myself. I haven't interacted with many trucks, and I don't have that much of an opinion on it, to be honest.
Well, I am a truck driver.
Okay.
I was wondering, what's your thoughts on road rage?
Tyler, are you asking me your thoughts? Are you asking me my thoughts? And this is not a hostile response. I'm genuinely curious. Are you asking me these questions to set up your thoughts on the trucking industry and road rage? Because you don't have to do that. You can just tell me your thoughts on the trucking industry.
I guess so.
You can just tell me. You don't have to set it up like, what do you think?
Well,
here's what I think. You can just tell me.
It wasn't necessary to set it up to that.
Well, I didn't say that to be a dick. I just wanted
to
let you know.
No, you're good. I didn't catch that at all. Anyways, I'm a truck driver. Deal with a lot of distracted drivers out there.
Yeah.
Which is kind of unfortunate. See a lot of people texting and driving.
About 100% of
weird
people
things
are
out there
texting
as well
and driving.
sometimes.
You know what is just a horrible
all the time.
thing that I do that I think a lot of people do is I think the whole it's the dumbest thing of all time. The whole texting, the sentiment as like we should not text and drive, right? That's been like, it's on the billboards, it's what the PSAs are. No texting and driving. So people now have it in their head subconsciously, if you're using your phone but you're not texting, it's fine. Like you can, like in the if you're on Instagram and you're like talking to someone over DMs while you're in the car, it's fine. You're not texting. You're Instagram direct messaging and driving. There's no billboard about that. Still, if you're changing the song on your iPod, there's no billboard against that. You know, if you're watching TikTok while driving, no billboard against that.
Accessing your cellular device.
So as long as you're not like literally texting,
it's ridiculous. It's a serious problem.
Even if you're messaging someone with another iPhone, that's not texting and driving. That's iMessage. That's fine. There's no law against that.
Yeah. No billboard up on it. But I do call those people in.
You call them in?
Oh, yeah.
You seem to have...
I've seen some pretty damn close accidents.
Really? But on account of people texting and driving?
Oh, yeah. Swerving, almost sideswiping each other, changing lanes at the same time, but they're both texting and driving, not paying attention. It's ridiculous. It's stressful out there, to be honest.
It says here that sometimes it says here sometimes that you will see people jerking off in traffic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen it like twice now.
Oh, my God. I feel there. Hold on. I could have sworn there was a caller in the queue who wanted to talk about how he jerked off in traffic.
Fuck that guy.
Hold on.
Wait.
When you say jerk, I don't mean like.
I'm happy for the person.
Tim, was there a caller who wanted to jerk off in traffic? I could have sworn I saw a call with that.
If so, I guess more power to him, but pay attention.
Well, okay. When you say jerking off in
happy
traffic,
for
do you
the
mean
guy that he's having a good time?
Do you mean jerking off like in? When we say traffic, like how is the cars moving, or are we like in traffic?
Interstate traffic in cities.
Oh, okay. So we're not talking like, you know, moving very slowly traffic. We're talking like, you know, at a red light.
65, 70 mile an hour. It's not faster.
Oh, okay. So jerking off while your car is going 70 miles an hour.
Damn right.
Better than
it's
texting,
fucking
though.
Insane.
Because you don't have to look. Because you don't have. I disagree, because you can look forward and masturbate while driving, but you can't if you're on texting. You have to you have to look at your phone.
Well, with jerking off, there was one guy that was watching porn while jerking off while driving down the road. This was at night, so I could see clearly into his car.
And no part of you was like, that's kind of efficient.
But part of me was like, it was kind of efficient. But at the same time, I was like, come on, man.
So
he wasn't maintaining his lane all too well.
So you said you typically report people like that.
I did not report those two.
Mm-hmm. I was
too tired.
Who was the last person that you reported?
Another trucker, actually, littering.
You reported him for littering. And when you make these reports, what typically follows? Are these reports actioned upon, or are they forgotten?
I think the littering one was forgotten about, but one, it was a reckless drunk driver, I'm pretty sure. He was swerving hard through traffic. People were having a hard time passing him. I called his ass in up in Missouri, and they ended up catching him.
Okay, so one of your reports was actioned upon, and he was successfully caught.
Yeah, but with Texan drivers, I've never seen them actually pulled over. Because usually most of the time they're going the same way I am. I figure because they get off at an exit before an officer could get them.
Well, okay, wait, hold on.
But
hold on.
Even if I am call
on.
people in,
But,
it's never going to change.
So but wait a minute. So you're driving in your truck, right? And you look to your left and you see somebody texting and driving. And you go, I'm going to report this person.
It's like a 25% of the time type thing.
But how do you report them?
I have a headset that I use that's Bluetooth connected to my phone.
Okay, I was going to say, this feels like, because it's sort of a situation where, like, a cop, if they want to pull over somebody who's speeding, what do they do? They got to speed to catch up with them, to pull them over.
Yep.
I hate driving. If I could never,
crazy life out there.
if I could never get into a car ever again, but still be able to live a full life, I would love that. But I truly hate cars because you're right. Everyone's out there texting, eating, jerking off, getting drunk, getting high, all the stuff. And I get why. It's a lot of time in the car. It's a lot of your time. There are people that were trying to make this into a live time. It's typically dead time that we give of our lives to traffic. So why not lighten the time by jerking off and getting high and eating food? The stuff we would do if we weren't in our car. And
or
we
why
were in our
not
bed.
put all that stuff down and just pay attention to life and live in the moment?
Get out of here. Who wants to do that?
Right. Not in this day and age.
Tyler, do you have any other thoughts, feelings, sentiments, questions, comments, concerns that you wish to share before we go? This was a good call. I enjoyed hearing your perspective on these things.
Another thing
with
drivers it's just a nonstop thing.
Please.
Us truckers, we weigh, in the industry that I'm in, I can weigh up to 80,000 pounds. And we got drivers, young drivers mostly, that'll cut in front of us at the last second to get their exit, or just to merge back in front of us when we're coming up to a stoplight or something. It takes us about 2 football fields or more to stop that thing. And that's why there's so many accidents, because people don't give us that space in front. It's important to do that, otherwise they're going to be a pancake.
Yeah, I don't even know how you drive that big ass truck around. They're too big. I could only do a tiny little car.
I've been driving a long time.
Well, I hope you drive for even longer.
I'm pretty confident with my driving.
Well, Tyler, I hope you drive long and forever into the sunset, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the night. Thank you for sharing.
That's beautiful. Hey, you too. Shout out to Powerful Condor.
Have a good night, Tyler.
You as well. Goodbye.
Now, I don't want to be the guy who is driving behind the guy jerking off, and he comes out the window, and then you just drive into it, and it gets all over your windshield. That's where I think things could go wrong. You ever play Mario Kart DS? You know the squid item where you do it, and it makes, like, ink go on everyone's screen? It's like that, but with cum. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Hello?
Hello?
How are you?
Is this a therapy Gecko?
Is this Mr. V?
This is Mr. V speaking. How are you tonight?
I'm all right. How are you?
Could be better, could be worse. Could be worse.
Totally could always be better. Totally could always be worse. Mr. V. How could it be worse?
How could it be worse?
Yes.
Well, I guess it goes to the root of why I'm calling in today.
Okay.
Is I used to be a teacher, and I quit my job, and it's been about a year now, and I'm doing something completely different, and I feel like my brain is turning into mush, to be quite honest. I feel like I'm getting dumber and dumber by the day with my new job, even though I get more money and I have literally zero responsibilities. But it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird now where I go home and I do this hard labor, and I come home and I look in my room and I see all these books I used to read. I'm like, what happened to that guy?
Why did you?
And then I hear about how schools are all. Oh, go ahead.
No. Please, I want to hear. I want to hear the rest of what you're saying.
Yeah, I just hear about how schools are all super messed up, even getting worse, and I'm just like, well, I'm glad I'm not there, but I have like this inner need to go teach again. I meet adults who can't do like multiplication or really bad geography. I'm just like, why am I here? I should be, teaching people fundamental skills.
That's super interesting. So, okay, so how long ago did you leave your teaching job?
It's going to be a year now.
Okay, and you are saying that you're getting paid more and that you have less responsibilities, which are two things that I feel like a lot of people look for in gigs, is more money for less work. Is that the main reason why you jump ship from being a teacher, is because this offer had more money and less work?
I know I mostly jumped ship from teaching because like it was a good cozy job.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. I got the summers off. I got a pretty decent salary and whatever, but COVID hit and turned everything upside down, and then I got paid the same to do like way more work, to be honest. I know people think teachers just sat at home, but it was like pretty intense to go from like a lot of social interaction to virtual interaction. And and I kind of got fed up with like the federal unemployment system. So like I was like a third year teacher, and the people who were getting the federal unemployment during the time of the pandemic were pretty much getting the same amount of money I was getting as a teacher, but I was devoting myself 5 days a week, right, online, whatever, 9 hours a day, plus grading and planning all day on Sunday. And I just thought, well, this is bullshit. Fuck the system. But at the same time, I'm just like, well, how do I reach these kids to make sure they can go off to get decent careers and not get ripped off by like the ice cream man or no basic geography, I guess.
So it sounds as though you have, aside from just money, you have external desires. You wish to help people and have a genuine desire to educate them, to reach these kids.
Yeah, I would say, I would say so. I would say so.
And when you
but
first,
it's just like, well, I
go ahead.
It's kind of weird, to be honest, like being a dude teacher and like kind of like doing bro things. Like I'm ripping my jewel and drinking a beer right now. But like you would meet these older teacher dudes, right? You meet these older dudes. And I was like, I don't really want to end up like these guys. You know, that looks kind of crappy. You know what I mean? But then I look at the people at my new job. I'm like, I don't want to end up like these people either. This sucks too. So I feel like it's just like a lose-lose situation across the board. But at least I'm getting more money. But I'm like from the Midwest, and like I work now in like an automobile factory, and I do like the same thing over and like 600 times a day. As much as like it was fun at the beginning, like, oh, this is like super easy. I just get paid to do this. But then after a while, you're like, wow, like my brain is mush right now. Like,
so hold on. I want to stop you real quick. So you said that you're at this teaching job, and you're having whatever, COVID's going on, the gig is changing, all these sort of things, and you have these older teachers that you're looking at, and you're looking at them and you're going, I don't know if I want to be this guy when I'm, 60 years old, whatever it is. What is it about the older teachers that you look at and you see and it makes you go, I don't want that?
Well, there was two case scenarios. We'll call them Mr. X and Mr. Y, right? Let's call Mr. X the good guy, right? He was married. He had kids. But you can tell Mr. X, like, he didn't have, like, nice things. He drove a beat-up, minivan. I'm pretty sure he probably struggled to pay the bills. And, that I don't want to live a life like that. Taking care of my kids on a teacher salary, that kind of sucks. But then there was Mr. Y, and Mr. Y was, like, the long-term playboy bachelor who takes trips to the Netherlands and Colombia to do God knows what. And I'm like, well, I don't want to end up like that either, because that's a really shallow existence where he's just, I'm like, that's, even though they're completely polar opposites, I'm like, I feel it's either going to be one or the other, and they both suck. So I'm like, fuck
why do you feel as though you can only be one or the other?
On a teacher salary, it's kind of hard to kind of really do anything, to be quite honest. So, like, it's either you live for yourself, only yourself, like, you do your thing for the kids, obviously, but you really only live for yourself because you really don't make that much. Or, like, you kind of do, like, the whole family thing, but then, like, when it's bill time, you're like, fuck, like, how am I going to do this? Like, how am I going to put my kids through college?
Mr. V, what's important to you? Because I know that you're looking at the, and I understand this. I understand this for sure. It's nice to have, like, models of, what could be. But when you really think about it, and you think about your life, and you think about your options, and you think about, what is important to you?
What's important to me is family, having, like, nice things, working hard, I guess, and being smart, I guess. Like, I like to use my brain. I feel like this job, like, underutilizes me so much. I look like, I don't know, I guess, like, because it's been a whole year, right? And I, like, didn't teach. I had zero responsibilities. I had zero, like, community commitment where I had to be, like, a role model citizen at the CPS and stuff. Like,
sure.
I could do whatever I want. Like, I grew my hair out, right? Wore different shoes, like, wore different clothes. Like, it was sweet. But then, like, as the year went on, I'm like, fuck, like, I kind of want some responsibilities. But then people look at me like, you're fucking crazy.
Well, okay. So you say you have...
Mind you, I'm 26 as well.
Okay, so you say you have not no responsibilities, but relatively minor responsibilities at this new gig.
Yes.
So,
I don't.
What would stop you then from trying to get creative? Because you seem like you're a creative guy, and you seem like you can use your brain. I feel like for you, there could be a creative way on whatever your off time is to find a new type of venture. And I don't know what it would be. I'm not going to give you any sort of example because I don't know. I just want to, like, plant the seed in your head of, like, that it's possible. That's something to think about. Like, what would be the venture on the side for you that would allow you to use your brain, that would allow you to form a community? And I feel like, and again, I'm playing armchair gecko therapist here, but there's a very, very narrow binary thinking here of, like, I can either be this guy or I can be this guy. And it's like, my friend, we live in 2022. We're in an interconnected society. We have the computer. There's never been more tools available to a human being to create community, to use their brain. And I would just sort of think in your off time, if you are telling me that you have more money and less responsibilities, and you do have free time, I would only encourage you to at least think about ways in which you could form a new venture or activity or something that could allow you to use your brain.
I mean, like I
and
jam.
form community. You jam? I mean, that's a great idea. You know, that's something
I
like
jam.
that.
I like
you
to
know.
jam, but it's like Mr. Geck. Like when you're a teacher, like it really you take it on fully. You know, it's hard to like walk in at the door at the end of the day and like put the teacher hat off. Like it kind of stays on all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just feel really conflicted with my identity nowadays. You know what I mean? Like before, when I was a teacher, I'd be at the store or around, you know, people who had kids, and like I would like always test their times tables and can they do subtraction with money or anything? You know, just basic teacher stuff that I feel like kids could use and not be on their phones. And nowadays, I look at kids, I'm just like, not my job. You know, it's not my job anymore. But then there's like a guilt on the inside. I'm like, well, that kid's not going to know the difference between China and Taiwan. You know what I mean? And that's an important issue. I feel like most people should know about this kind of stuff, or just any basic thing. And especially because, ironically enough, I was a science teacher who left during COVID because I realized education is just kind of not very scientific in regards to how they handle things. So it's just like, Mr. Geck, just to be quite frank, it's just like, you know how you're Lyle and you're Mr. Geck? It's like, imagine hanging up the Mr. Geck forever, you know, or something happened where you had to give up the Mr. Geck, or being Mr. Geck became too much.
You can just call me Geck. You don't have to call me Mr. Geck.
Okay. It's a respect thing. The teacher hat's on, you know, but it's kind of that feeling. And I hope you never have that feeling, you know, walking away from something you're so passionate about because you have to, you know.
Well, would you say your name was Mr. V?
Mr. V.
Mr. V, in whatever you do, I wish you good luck.
You take care now, Mr. Gecko.
Thank you, Mr. V. Yeah, I don't know why Mr. Geck makes me feel super uncomfortable. I don't you know, I'm not a teacher, not a guru. Never had any interest in presenting myself as such. Merely, truly, only wish to present myself, and I hope I'm doing it. I hope I'm doing this properly, because sometimes I'm afraid that I'm not. But I really, truly, at the end of the day, only wish to present myself as a crazy person in a Gecko costume on the internet. Hello?
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 Hello.
Hey.
What's good, Professor?
Why do you say I'm a professor?
Well, you didn't like Mr. And you got some credibility, I think.
I don't...
But how you doing, my man?
I don't know if I mean, here's the here's the thing. I know that there's people watching my stream and stuff, but I don't know if that inherently... I don't know if followers gives you inherent credibility. What is your genuine opinion?
No,
what is your genuine opinion on that?
TikTok has taught me that you will find a following in anything, and if you want a toxic community, you're going to get it. But you welcome and you embrace a welcome environment, and so you stand out like a ruby, my man.
You know, here's the thing, though, is you can say, and if you like if your friend tells you something, you're like, well, who the fuck is this guy? Like, if you meet someone at a party and they start like giving you advice about something, or going on a spiel or making statements of opinion or anything like that, you're like, who is this person? What the fuck are they saying? But if you saw a TikTok
for sure
of of that same person, but they were a random person, but you saw it and it had a bunch of like likes on it, and a bunch of people commenting on it, it was like presented to you as media, you would be like, oh, what's this? I agree with that. But there's no difference between the two, really. So everyone is just saying things and hoping that they resonate with people in some way, but there's no credibility to anyone. Hate when people say things.
Absolutely.
I picked the worst thing to do. I picked a podcast where I say things and people say, I hate saying things. I hate listening to things. I'm in a complete another nightmare here.
Green fingers in front of a turtle.
How can I get you this evening? I promise I'm going to find a better thing to say to transition into like the part of the call where we talk about the thing. But for now, I'm using how can I get you this evening?
Absolutely. For some advice. I don't know what the moderator told you. For a little side quest today, I accidentally drank my own urine.
Can you repeat that?
I have a loving relationship with Mike. Say that again?
Can you repeat that?
I drank my own urine on accident this about 7 o'clock, but I was mainly calling because I have a very nice relationship with a wonderful girl, and I've been just like trying to find jobs, and it's hard to put myself out there and find relationships and get connected to people. It's applying LinkedIn and your forms. Everybody wants something different, and everyone says they're hiring, but they're not. And I haven't been able to find employment. I'm just kind of vibing through life, living at my parents and trying to remain happy. But yeah, what do you have to think about that?
You said you drank your own urine this morning?
Not this morning, this evening, accidentally. Because I pulled an all-nighter and I went to go get some donuts for my family in the morning, about 5 a.m. I was in the parking lot of HEB. And man, I just had to pee, and I had tinted windows, so I had a little water bottle, It took care of it. I threw it in my back right seat because I have a 2-door. I didn't want anyone happen to see it while I was inside shopping, right? So I threw it back there, had forgotten about it. Me and my girlfriend, when we were in my car, we always throw water bottles on the ground, right? Well, tonight I went to go pick up some calzones, right? Some fresh mozzicoli and some good dessert. And I was like, wow, I'm really parched. Went to go grab some water from behind me. Instead of behind my seat, I went to the far back right. I forgot about my bottle, and the disaster had already hit me. Had to flush my mouth out with another little water bottle. Had some kombucha. Some might say that was worse, but it was great.
So you flushed out your mouth with a second water bottle?
I what?
And what did it taste like?
See, that's the thing. It's been really cold in Texas lately. So it was about like 40 out today. And so instead of hot and like ammonia, it was kind of like a really watered down but slightly lemon added taste to a very bad Powerade from McDonald's. Served in the plastic cups, a really big, large cup with too much ice. It was cold. It was, it didn't do it. I opened up my window. I had to spit it out. I had to get some other water. I didn't think I would tell anybody until tonight, but I told my girlfriend. And then we went to see when you had last put some footage, and it was Friday. And I'm like, oh, this man has a schedule. So that's where we're at, Lyle. Is it okay if I say Lyle? My name's Jared.
And how did this experience make you feel in the macro about your life as a whole?
In the macro, I really need to move out. My mother's toxic. But in the macro, some urine's not going to change that. My everyday was pretty good. I love my girlfriend. Your girlfriend is your hand. Shut up, chill out. 2020.
What's your name?
Am I allowed to read chat?
No, you're not allowed to read chat, actually.
Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry.
You are breaking rules.
I apologize. I just heard to mute it. But in the macro, it's changed me for the better. I'm glad it happened. It wasn't pleasant, but I've learned from it.
What have you learned from it?
Not to throw water bottles on the floor, and I'm not going to allow my girlfriend to do it either. Granted, she doesn't pee in water bottles in my car. But you win some, you lose some, right? Like, unmedicated ADHD, man, it's you have some great 3-4 days, but then you have some depression naps for, about a week. It's hard to take care of yourself. A shower, you really have to think about and work yourself into doing it because it's for the better. Even if you don't go outside today, even if you're on the computer, just trying to shower yourself is hard after about 2.5-3 days. But yeah.
What do you do on the computer?
So here's the thing. Toxic trait, I know. League of Legends back in season 3. But that got me into building computers. But before that, my dad's an electronics engineer, so I always soldered and desoldered printed circuit boards with him. I already forgot where this question was going. Are you addicted to anything, Lyle?
Am I addicted to anything?
Yeah.
Sugar.
Word. Heard.
Maybe a little bit of porn. I could probably reasonably quit porn for a while.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think I'm addicted to weed.
It's
I think of all the things.
I don't go for the real stuff. I go for the animated.
You go for the animated stuff.
Sorry to talk over. The animated, drawn,
Hentai.
Yeah, absolutely. Dojinshi, the girlfriend's Twitter porn account,
No, what is that?
Oh, she just has a Twitter account for her porn page. That's private because Twitter thinks that every single thing you like should be told to every single friend of yours. Crazy. Man, my bed's comfy.
What did you say your name was?
Jared.
Thank you very much for calling, Jared.
Thank you so much, brother.
Therapy Gecko's on the line, taking your phone calls every night. Therapy Gecko's doing it right, he's teaching you how to live your life, but he's not really an expert.